Afternoon folks, hope everyone's well and welcome to 2023. Didn't think we'd be here that quick, but hopefully everybody's come through the holiday season well, not in too much debt. But as I said, I hope everyone is well. I've been working on the LONGRANGER over the holiday period. A couple of things, sorted out the mechanics now. I found out why they were sitting crooked in the top of the fuselage, and what it was a tiny bit of grit had fallen down into the captive nuts, so the screw wasn't going down, so it was just raising the mechanics slightly. So that's all sorted, and that is all now, they're all now in, which is good. What's the other thing I've been doing? Oh yeah, a good friend of mine, Bell Bloke, who many will know from the forums, the Rum Rider when he was around, always taught me that just because someone is a professional builder, still check their work and always pack your own parachute, especially when it comes to expensive scale models. So I thought, well, I'll take this head apart just to have a look, and it was a good job I did, because the thrust races had been put in back to front. So obviously on the actual thrust race where the cage is, the exposed side was pointing towards the blades, so any lubrication or grease would have just literally spun out and I would have had some tracking issues. So I thought, right, let's take the whole head apart, because this head sits on the spindle is a 10mm spindle, which is obviously as big as some main shaft, so it just gives you an idea of how big this rotor head is. So I took that apart, re-lubed them, and it's all gone back together and it's really smooth and nice, so really happy with that. And the other thing is the flybar carrier. Now I know most people say, oh, why would you have a flybar on a lovely scale model, why not go flybarless? And the truth is, I just like the flybar. I always feel mechanically connected to it, and for me, this is just my own personal style of flying. I like to have that connection rather than relying on the electronics doing all the hard work for me. So yeah, I can appreciate the nicety and the being able to adjust almost everything. I was talking to someone at our club AGM last night who's got the V-Bar 3, the top of the range latest one out, or the one that's coming out, and the amount of stuff, all the parameters that you can alter. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how technology's come on from like the Heli Command or the Beast X. But for scale flying, you don't need all those parameters. So you think, why replace a £3 flybar with hundreds and hundreds of pounds worth of electronics, when this little bit of 5mm 480mm length steel bar does all that for you? I ain't going to be looping it, I'm not going to be 3Ding it. So to be fair, I've just decided to stick with the flybar. But one of the things I decided to do was just have a look at it and just check over another person's work that had already built it about 15 years ago and sat it in a box, really, in a garage. And it was a good job I did check it, because one of the bearings popped out, one of the shims had crumbled, so there's been a lot of work to do. And because these are odd sizes, they're not what you call standard sizes, it's been a while to try and get the shims and the bearings, but I've managed to get some from a company, and they've been on order now for a few days, so hopefully I'll get them. But I don't know whether the camera will pick it up, but you can see there where it's just cracked. Let's put the camera down. Yeah, you can see it's just cracked, so I'm really glad that I checked it. And as my good friend Bell Bloke always used to say, pack your own parachute. And it's a good job, because that would have caused me some real tracking issues probably some vibration, and I'd have had metal on metal grinding in the head, which wouldn't have made for a very stable helicopter. Which the Zealous head is a very stable head because it's got no washout. The input comes from the flybar, so it makes for a very stable responding head, which obviously you 3Ders which obviously you 3Ders would find that incredibly horrible to fly. But it's different styles of flying. As we say, I respect any of the 3D guys with what they can do. And likewise, when they see me turn up with a quarter scale turbine, it's got 2.5 meters rotor and it flies beautifully, they are in just as much respect. So it's horses for courses. So yeah, so what am I be doing? I'm just waiting for the bearings to come. They should be here tomorrow, and then yeah, I can finally finish this head off, get it all plugged in, and then hopefully over the weekend take it for its first test flight. Also been working on the tail cone. Unfortunately, with the tail cone it had to be redone because one of the lights that wasn't part of the brain cube kit, it came with it already in, so it didn't have its own little resistor built in. It blew, which meant to get it out I had to cut into the tail section. So yeah, I was a little bit annoyed about that because it meant taking one step backwards before taking 2 steps forward. But that's all done now, painted, so hopefully that will that'll go on as well. Brilliant. I'll talk back. One of the things I've tried to get is some new ball links, but the balls on the head are 6mm, where normally they're 4.8 on most scale models and on most models. So it's been a challenge to get hold of them. I used to fly a Blitz Avro, which was a lovely F3C machine that was designed, it was designed by Dave Fisher, who was again a very accomplished pilot, very experienced, and runs his own flying school, Flying Fish, which a lot of my friends who were obviously in F3C participated in and went to, and obviously Dave was really good. But on the Blitz Avro, just to cut a long story short, they had some really good ball links that were almost, they weren't rubbery, but they were really good. They were like really flexible and they held onto the ball really tight, but there was loads of movement, which was really good. Where with these plastic ones, which I must admit I am a little bit worried about, I've had to ream a bit so they fit over. But the trouble is, I spoke to Amanda Scallon, something like that, who's the wife of Neil, who owns Blitz helicopters, and they've run out of these, and it looks like it's not going to come back into stock. So yeah, which is a bit of a shame, because I'd love to know where they got these from, because I'd order a few, because they are brilliant ball links. I mean, they're not up to the standard of the rocket ones, but as I said on the previous section of the video today, I'm not 3Ding. So yeah, so if anybody knows where you can get the Blitz Avro ball links, please let us know in the comments below. I'd really appreciate it. So we got that one there, so that's done. So I must admit, I am wary of plastic, particularly in cold weather, because it goes brittle. So I've been told. And the reason for replacing them is the ones that came on the machine. I'll show you. If you look, as part of your pre-flight test, you're supposed to pull them, and these are just on there so loose, and I'm thinking that they're moving 1 meter blades, 950mm with the head, etc. So that's a lot of pressure on that flybar. and they seem very, very weak. Hence the reason I'm changing them. But yeah, I say, if anybody knows where you can get hold of the Blitz Avro ball links, I mean, they must be used on other helicopters and other manufacturers. Please let us know in the comments. I'd really appreciate it. Okay, back to the head. Thanks a lot, guys.